Divorce with a Twist, where we help you recover from your divorce, rediscover your self-worth, and repurpose your life. This is episode 5, Conversation with Trisha Glover. I'm your host, Shandy Orwalis, certified life coach and divorce attorney. Today, I invite you to my conversation with Trisha. Trisha is once divorced after a 10-year marriage. The divorce was initiated by her husband just 6 months after they built their forever home. She has 2 beautiful children, a boy and a girl, and she holds a bachelor's degree in psychology. Today, she talks about how she felt during the early days of her divorce and what catapulted her on her path to healing. I represented Trisha as her attorney, and we moved into a coaching relationship. It's been a real pleasure to witness her transformation. Without further ado, here's Trisha and her story. Trisha, can you describe how you felt during the beginning of your divorce process?
In the beginning of the divorce process, it was the scariest situation I've ever been in. I cried constantly. I questioned my self-worth constantly. I asked questions such, what if something was different, or how could I have changed it? It seemed like I automatically changed it into something that I had done. That was how my brain started processing it. My life changed drastically. I had to sell my home, sell my car, and figure out how to live on a smaller income while supporting myself and my 2 children. It felt like basically the world was turned upside down. My whole life was different instantly.
How do you remember coping at that time?
So at that time, it was like a flood of negative emotions first. And so I surrounded myself with a handful. I had a handful of supporters, mostly family, and they would encourage me, inspire me to keep going, to get out of that negative, I guess, funk. My father, what clicked, my father said that he asked me, said, how can you let somebody like that, meaning my ex, have so much power over you? And it was tough love. He wasn't trying to be ugly to me, but that stern question, it just clicked. And I was like, oh my God, he's right. I hated feeling that way. And that made me realize I was giving my power to my ex. I didn't initiate the divorce. So I felt this was being done to me, so that's a victim mindset. Whenever my father asked me that question, that kind of changed a little. I started meditating. So for coping, I had to first become aware of it. And then I started meditating, and then just trying to surround myself with more positive people. So I was flooded with more positive energy and emotions than focusing constantly on the negative.
Prior to your dad asking you that, did you even realize that you were giving your power away, that you were allowing outside circumstances dictate how you felt?
No, I didn't. He asked me, how do I let somebody have that much power or control over you? That's what he said. I didn't. And no, I didn't. Yeah.
Extremely powerful.
Yeah, it was an epiphany, pretty much, like a light bulb went off.
Do you recall how long you were in that spiral before your dad said that? Had it been months or years?
Oh, it was about a year. It was about a year. I felt like my life was constantly on repeat, not going anywhere for at least a year.
Yeah. I always say, it's really not time that heals. It does take work and a change and shift in perspective. Although that work takes time in itself will not heal. Would you agree with that? If your father hadn't said those words to you, do you think the passage of time would have just made you better?
No, 100%. I do agree with you. If you keep repeating the same thing over and over, you're going to get the same result. So you have to start having a progressive momentum in order for something to change. Something has to become different for you to feel and your life to be different.
What other shifts have you noticed, for yourself?
I noticed that I can more so control not only how I feel, but my future. I can, if I don't feel comfortable with something, if I don't like something, I know I can take steps to change it. I'm not a magician. I can't make something just instantly turn into something else, but I can work forward, and towards something different. If I want that to change, I have to put my own energy and time into it, and it's also about seeing the flip side of things. The old, if you got a bunch of lemons, make a lemonade type deal. I do that a lot with a lot of aspects of my life.
Well, I also know you've been particularly good at creating boundaries in your life.
Yes.
And
yes.
Were you doing that before? Was that a change, learning how to create them, or even what they were and how they could work for you?
That was a huge, that caused a huge change in all of this. And the boundary, I started setting back. Well, I read a lot, and I was reading how to deal with difficult exes. I read constantly. I still read, even though I think I got it now, but I still read anyway. So I realized that I was allowing my ex to, rattle my cage up constantly. This was bleeding into the court system. Whenever I went to court, it didn't look good for me. It wasn't helping me at all. So, and I think my ex knew how to press my button, sort of say, and that I had to realize he was doing it. I had to be, conscious of that to realize, okay, if he does this, I automatically feel this. I don't want to feel that way. So I need to recognize those triggers and then, consciously decide how to deal with it from there.
Right.
And that's definitely a way to get your power back, is to create boundaries for yourself and follow through with them.
Right. If you don't make boundaries, those who mean you harm will take advantage. So, and if you don't stand up for yourself, nobody will.
So you said, you still read, you still do have contact with your ex because you have minor children still, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you do co-parent?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you feel your divorce is in your past?
I do, for the most part. I'm still I'm still going through, well, the divorce part, the marriage part, yes, that's ended in 2017. But of course my children are 13 and 12. I'm going to be 14 and 13 this year. And so I still have a few more years to, go before they make legal age. But I do feel my divorce itself is in the past. And then what I have to deal with my children, I've done it so much. It doesn't scare me anymore. And I think I've gained the right tools to learn how to just cope with that huge stressor, of walking in a courthouse or going on a court Zoom or seeing my ex or hearing him say things that aren't necessarily true. I learn how to deal with those things because those are facts. People are going to say, things that may not be true about you, but, you don't have to take that as a direct attack. You don't have to absorb that,
That shift has come by way of you thinking about it differently. Is that right?
Correct.
Right.
One, I know that it's not permanent. This is a temporary part of my life. I just have to accept that it is a part of my life and just deal with it the best way I can. I can't harp on it constantly like I did, but I used to do that. And that literally took a physical toll on me. Mental, physical, spiritual, like you can't.
Yes, acceptance is key. A lot of times, I coach my clients. If you are arguing with reality, why is this happening to me? Or I can't believe it's happening to me. Arguing with reality, you'll lose every time.
Yeah. And that was, I was doing that a lot.
But it's right. It's hard to know that you're doing it, or, if you're in the cycle of doing it, I mean, you really can't see
a way out. So, and you've had very different results in your life. At this point, you've made a major career decision, right? Why don't you tell us about that?
Since I've had to be highly involved in litigation, and court has been a big part of my life. Just the legal system in general. There are some things I don't like about it. There's some things I do like about it. But in the process, doing this for several years, I've come to just love some of the processes of it, a lot of aspects of the legal system. And I find that I through this, not only did it make me, it challenged my brain, which I love, but it also, I felt there was a lot of power in the legal system. I applied to law school, and I've been accepted, and I'm attending in this year in the fall.
Congratulations. That is huge. I mean, that's just huge.
Thank you. I can't even believe it. Sometimes I think about it. Like when I was doing the application process, I haven't been in school since 2007 is when I graduated. And when I was filling out the application and I submitted it, I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing this, So yeah,
and
it's kind of
can you even say in 2015, when that divorce was initiated, that was even a thought on the horizon at a flicker of anything in your life?
No. First of all, because I was drowning in so much emotional turmoil, my brain was so, disconnected from a lot of things at that point. Like I would not have been a successful law student. But in regards to, did I vision myself being able to do it? No, not at that time. I restricted myself. I told I got kids, how am I going to get the money? Maybe I'm not smart like I was, as an undergrad. Maybe I'm just not good enough, just really,
that's
all
a
that
universal thought, I'm not good enough is universal to us all. We all have that thought. And it's a crippling thought too. So
exactly.
If you could give the listeners your best piece of advice, what would that be?
Be your best friend, not your worst enemy. Love yourself unconditionally. You will be there for yourself before anybody else. So appreciate where you've been and how you've got there, and who you are now,
that's so true. And that's, I find that, you say, treat yourself like you would treat a friend, you wouldn't accept a friend telling you those things, and you certainly would not support your friend and tell your friend the negative things that you tell yourself. So that's a good rule of thumb. If you find yourself thinking something you would not tell your friend, you might want to rethink it.
It's restricting. It is self-restricting. If you don't want to defeat you don't want to count yourself out. You don't want to say you can't do something, because anything is possible. If you tell yourself no, you're already giving up, and those are very, very self-defeating thoughts. And I'm not perfect. I do feel bad sometimes, but that's temporary. Like I know I can change it. I know I don't have to feel that way forever. So,
Okay, so before we go, I'd like for you to impress upon the listeners one last time the wise words of your dad.
Why do you let somebody like that have so much power over you? Why?
Thank you, Trisha.
You're welcome.
That's our time for today.